Okay, so in the lead up to our paper one exams, which is not long away, we're going to look at very quickly the formation of tropical storms, and we need to know it in sequence. This could be a 4 marker or a 6 marker. It's not come up yet, so it could make an appearance in our exams this year. So very quickly, thinking about how it starts off, you'd have to mention in your first opening sentence that actually tropical storms form on what kind, like what's the temperature of the ocean. So you'd say actually oceans have to be 27 degrees. So you start off with that and you say that it's 27 degrees, which is really warm, and then water starts to evaporate, and we see lots of warm air rising. This is where it gets you the mark. And then you could mention that this is an area of low pressure. So as lots of warm air rises, now you've got to think, what does that warm air do? What happens to it as it reaches kind of like in the higher atmosphere? So what it starts to do is cool and condense. Remember, we need to think about how it forms these clouds. So then you'd mention something like this evaporated air, like the water vapor, cools and condenses to form huge thunderstorms and clouds. Then you'd mention something along the line that there is a lot of energy within this storm. So I would say something like the storm releases this heat which powers the storm. And then you mention again, this continues to draw up more warm air from the ocean. Okay, now we've got lots of clouds, like let's say thunder clouds and thunderstorms, but now they're about to join together. Think about the tropical storm shape. So I would say that the thunderstorms and clouds start to join together, and this forms this kind of spinning storm. But you quickly mention that it gets that spiral shape, and the examiner would like you to see that you're saying that this is due to the Earth's rotation. Okay, so far you've got about a good 3 to 4 marks. Okay, imagine you just write about this much. This is better than nothing. Okay, don't leave these questions blank. You can still write, get a couple marks. Then think about the shape. Like, remember the structure of a tropical storm? It's got an eye and eye wall. So you just have to mention that, cooler air begins to sink. When it sinks, it forms the eye, which is the calmest part of the storm. And then you quickly mention that the outer edge of the of the storm is known as the eye wall. This is the most fierce part of the storm, which has the kind of strongest winds and rain bands. And the last few steps that you'd have to quickly mention is like now it hitting the land. What would happen when it hits the land? That's so easy. Anyone could say that, something happens, that it loses energy. So I'd quickly mention that the storm gets stronger as it goes over the warm ocean. And I'd quickly mention that lastly, upon reaching the land, the energy supply is cut off, which is the warm rising air, okay, and the warm water vapor. But then the friction of the land slows it down and it weakens. That should get you a good 5 or 6 marks if a 6 marker was to come up.